for dinner? Kitty cat, what's for dinner? Kitty cat, what's for dinner tonight?
How do you do, film buffs? This is Straight Shooter. Welcome to the next episode of How I See It. And I think we're actually in the 60s as far as episode numbers, which is kind of crazy. But I'm at Team Sound Studios, and as I am always, and I got another couple reviews today and another video in my new series. I hope you check it out. It's about my weight loss journey. It's pretty interesting stuff. So anyway, today, the first one I got for you is a Red Band spoiler review, and it's of Jojo Rabbit. The movie was directed by Taika Waititi, who you may know as the guy that did Thor Ragnarok. He did the last couple of episodes of The Mandalorian Season 1. He really brought life into the franchises that he was involved in, whether it be Marvel or Star Wars. And this movie I didn't really get to see because I guess I just kind of missed it when it was out, and then COVID hit, and then we're hopefully nearing the end of COVID, and the video came out. I decided to rent it because I've heard such good word of mouth. So here we are. Not only does he direct the movie and write the movie, but he also stars in the movie. He plays Hitler, and when I say Hitler, it's the little boy, the main character's imaginary friend, Hitler. He kind of represents a real-ish version of Hitler, but also a very lackadaisical, very laid-back version of Hitler until the end, but I'll get to that. Speaking of Marvel, we also have Scarlett Johansson, who plays Jojo's mom. And also speaking of Marvel, we got Sam Rockwell from Game of Thrones. We have Alfie Allen. In a little bit of a bit part, we have Rebel Wilson, who normally I see her name in a movie and I'm just whatever. But she wasn't actually too bad in this movie. So the movie is a dark comedy. It stars this little boy named Jojo, and he's training for war with the Jews. He's at a little camp where it looks like it might be Boy Scouts, the equivalent of Boy Scouts out here, but back in Nazi Germany, I guess they call it training for war with the Jews. In the camp, he's tasked to do something because they kind of feel like he's a little bit cowardly. They find this rabbit, and they pick up the rabbit and give it to Jojo. They tell him, kill the rabbit, stab it, and wring his neck or something like that, but he won't do it. So he lets the rabbit go, and that's how he got the nickname Jojo Rabbit. It's a much more important moment in the movie than it is at face value, because it defines his character. So his mother is more of a free spirit. She lives in Germany, and she's raising Jojo, but she's kind of more of a loving person, and she's also a defector, meaning that she hides Jews in her house, and she has specialized compartments for hiding them because she's sympathetic towards them. And meanwhile, Jojo is blindly following Nazism, and it's because it's what he's being taught where he is. He thinks that all Jews are bad and all this stuff. But what happens is he finds out about the Jewish girl that is living in their house, being hidden and stuff. And, a bond forms between them. I'll go more into that relationship a little bit, but I want to touch more upon the mother and child. It's kind of a sweet relationship because even though they differ in their political beliefs and who they follow, they also really care about each other. Jojo doesn't want anything to happen to his mom, and she is just trying to show him love, trying to show him that life is not so serious. Sometimes you just gotta let go. And she's definitely the cool hippie mom type. And the role is a little bit ahead of the time because she probably belongs more in like the 60s or something like that. But it's a comedy. So you got to take it for what it is, not an accurate historical biography or something like that. But it was an interesting character. And Scarlett Johansson has proved before that she's more than just the pretty face behind Black Widow. She starred in other movies and she's showed her acting chops before, but in this one she really goes all out. It was a really good role for her, and I genuinely enjoyed watching her on screen during this movie. So I mentioned the Jewish girl. Her name's Elsa, and she's another one that I don't know who she is other than her name is Thomasin McKenzie, but she probably stole the movie. She didn't take any of Jojo's shit. She said, if you try anything, if you try and tell anyone, I'll cut your Nazi fucking head off. I think that's when Jojo realized that she's more than just what he thought she was, like just another Jew. The bond forms between them, and he actually like professes his love to her. And it's kind of funny because it's like puppy love, like he's a kid, not even in his teens yet, and she's already talking about like she had a fiance and stuff like that. So they're close to a generation apart, but he feels like he needs to protect her as well. And what ends up happening is the Americans invade Germany and they take over, and the Nazis are defeated. But before that happens, the Germans find out about his mom and that she's hiding Jews and stuff. So it's kind of a turn of events, but I think it was an important moment for his character, even though it's a little bit shocking. He goes outside and he finds his mother hanging because they killed her. And he kind of broke down. And I think that was the moment that changed for him. Like before, he was kind of on the fence about the Jewish girl and his Nazism beliefs and stuff like that. But it was that moment when he realized, you know, maybe my mom was right. And that's why toward the end, he was teasing her a little bit. He said, we won, you have to get out of here, I'll bring you safely. And then they go outside, and one of the things she said to him, because he asked her, what's the first thing you're going to do when you realize you're free? And she said, I'm going to dance. And there's a connection between that and the relationship between his mom, because his mom would say to him, you know, sometimes you just got to dance. And she would dance, and he would think it's kind of silly, but he would dance with her and stuff like that. And she kind of took that surrogate role at the end, Jojo's guardian. Once she realized that he was just playing with her and they were free, she could go anywhere she wanted to now. That's what she started doing. She started dancing and he started dancing. And that was a really sweet moment. That's what really works about this movie is, yes, it's a dark comedy. Yes, there's a lot of things in the movie that you laugh at that you wouldn't otherwise laugh at. Like, they're throwing grenades, the pseudo Cub Scout meeting. And he throws one and it lands right by him. And he's like, shit. And it blows up. And he has to be like off his legs for a little while and has to recover. And also Hitler. Taika Waititi is brilliant playing a fictional version of Hitler. Because he says things like, dude, that was intense. And like, oh, I don't know, whatever you think. Yes, that works. His character is like, he somehow makes Hitler lovable. And there's nothing lovable about Hitler in history. But the version that he plays is just so like, you know, you can't help but laugh at him because of the things that he says to Jojo. But what happens at the end is he realizes that Jojo is defecting, like, I gotta save this Jewish girl, and then he starts berating him, and he's like, she's a stupid Jew! And he finally says, you know what, fuck off, Hitler, and he drop kicks him through the window, and that was the end of their relationship. So he, in effect, he outgrew Hitler and Nazism, and that was the moment when he really started to grow up, when he freed the girl, Elsa, and they were outside, and it was a good moment in the movie. I thought it was very enjoyable. It mixes satire with serious issues, and it has some heart to it. Like there are some relationships that he has that, you know, are important to him. Like there's this one kid, and every time he sees him, he's like, "Oh, hi!" And even if they might be on different sides or the same side, childhood love and friendship is very precious, and they really like show that in the movie. Like it's not just about him and his mom, and him and Hitler, and him and the girl. It's also about the people, because the kid was the only one that still talked to him after everything that happened to him. And there was another moment after the Germans lost where the commander at the base that he got injured at said, "Go away, you shouldn't be here," and tries to say that he's a Jew. He's like, "You're a Jew," and the only reason he did that was because the Americans were executing the Nazis, and he didn't want Jojo to be killed. And during the first half of the movie, this is the guy that was played by Sam Rockwell. You thought he was going to be like a villain, but he ended up being a decent guy. And he admired her mom for her strength and courage, and he wanted to also protect Jojo. So yeah, I mean, everything about this movie was really good. All my friends that saw it that told me they were 100% correct. I don't know what else I can say. How I can see it, I give the movie an A. I've already picked it up on 4K after renting it, so there you go. Stay tuned. I got one more for you, and one more review, that is. See you in a bit.
Since my old horse got nowhere to go, before I know it, she's eating her mold. Eating weasel, squirrel, honey. I think they're cute. She thinks they're yummy.